Hello, good people of the world, Canada, most notably Southern Ontario, my hometown Milton. This may come as a surprise to many of you, but this pandemic that we are in right now is not what you're being told, and there is plenty of evidence to show that it's non-existent. So let me begin by saying, if you have received this notice, please show up, and anyone else that gets the call is in the area, just attend. We need to start making some noise and get the word out, because if this is allowed to continue, the future of our children and grandchildren will be very dark indeed. So, the claim has been made by the World Health Organization, the Centers for Disease Control, and all mainstream medical institutions that the world is currently in a pandemic. This claim hinges on a viral disease known as coronavirus, or COVID-19. The following proofs of said virus have yet to be met. There is no electron micrograph, i.e. photograph image, of the pure and fully characterized virus. There is no peer-reviewed paper in which the virus is illustrated and its full genetic information described. There is no primary publication that provides proof that this virus, COVID-19, is the sole cause of the particular disease being described. To further this problem, if COVID-19 is a highly contagious virus as is described, what is considered an epidemic or pandemic? As of April 16, 2020, there are 28,899 total cases of confirmed COVID-19 in Canada, with a population of 37,590,000, which equates to 0.077% of the total population being confirmed positive for COVID-19 in Canada. In Ontario, with a total population of 14,570,000 people, we have a total of 8,967 total cases of COVID-19. This is Ontario, so that's 0.062% being confirmed positive for COVID-19 in Ontario. These numbers hardly constitute an epidemic, let alone a pandemic. To further the argument about the illegitimacy of the COVID-19 pandemic, please find online and read Open Letter from the Russian Medical Association, Coronavirus, the Fight Against the Virus or the Rights of the People. Roundtable discussion held on March 22nd, 2020. I summarized a couple of paragraphs here that's in this open letter. COVID-19 is not a particularly dangerous infection. It's a classic acute respiratory viral infection. According to all classical definitions of the science of epidemiology and infectious diseases, there are currently no pandemics and epidemics in the world. An epidemic is the spread of an infectious disease to 5% of the population, and a pandemic is an epidemic of an infectious disease that characterizes the spread to the territory of a neighboring state and countries of the world. Medical experts say that there is currently no epidemic in the world, let alone a pandemic, but their voices are deliberately being drowned out by the screaming and panic-stricken media. Also consider, from the CDC's website, mortality data includes both confirmed and presumptive cases of COVID-19. The CDC automatically overestimates the real death numbers by their own admission. To further the numbers problem by the CDC's own admission again, also from their website is the following disclaimer for the PCR test currently being used to test this COVID-19. Quote, every effort has been made to assure the accuracy of the sequences, but the CDC cannot provide any warranty regarding their accuracy. End quote. Please also consider the March 24th, 2020 National Vital Statistics System memo. It states, quote, The rules for coding and selection of the underlying cause of death are expected to result in COVID-19 as being the underlying cause more often than not." End quote. So basically, coding COVID-related deaths is as follows. Any death where the disease caused or is assumed to have caused or contributed to death, just label it as COVID. Confirmed lab tests are not required. To further these admissions by official sources, there is also considerable video evidence from diligent citizens who have done what real investigative reporters should be doing, going to hospitals and showing on video that there is indeed a lack of activity. Nothing that would come close to warranting such drastic measures to be put in place by the governments of the world. There are many medical professionals who are coming out and sharing information about the high strangeness regarding this pandemic, from the lack of patient influx to turning normal sick patients away and sending them home, to the way they're coding the death certificates to indicate a COVID death when it wasn't one. So what we have here is a situation where the tests are such that anyone whose own bodies are expressing viral detox symptoms of the common cold, influenza, or any kind of toxicity will likely test positive for COVID-19, thus increasing the number of positive tests, and then coupled with the CDC's own directives to instruct hospitals to list the cause of death as COVID-19 on deceased patients, even without the proper diagnosis, thus skewing the mortality rate numbers of the COVID-19 death count. Then allowing the mainstream media to run with these skewed numbers to create fear and panic amongst the general population when all that is happening in reality is nothing more than a normal flu season. It should be clear at this point, as it has been demonstrated, that based off of official sources of accepted information by their own admissions and statistics, the current state of the world is nowhere near close to qualifying as a pandemic situation. It would seem that it is a very corrupt attempt at a worldwide government takeover of unprecedented scale using the guise of a normal flu season and a very controlled and corrupt worldwide corporate media system that is outright misinforming a very frightened public. Our fundamental freedoms are being stripped away with merely words and illegal laws based off an assumed virus, COVID-19, that has yet to be proven to even exist in the way it's being described. The voices of the many medical professionals, scientists, and various fields of expertise and critical thinking individuals are being silenced by our corrupt media and government worldwide. Anyone who is speaking out against the mainstream narrative is being labeled a conspiracy theorist, while in fact we are showing facts that indeed indicate a conspiracy being undertaken right now, right in front of us, but most people cannot see it because they are being subjected to a form of trauma-based mind control by said governments and media outlets. As a Canadian citizen, I am exercising my guarantee of rights and freedoms under the Constitution Act 1982. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms guarantees the rights and freedoms set out in it, subject only to such reasonable limits prescribed by law as can be demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society. Fundamental freedoms. Everyone has the right to freedom of conscience and religion, freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including freedom of the press and other media of communications, freedom of peaceful assembly, and freedom of association. In Canada, we recognize the supremacy of God and the rule of law. As such, this false and clearly contrived pandemic is directly infringing on our fundamental freedoms, most notably freedom of conscience and religion. We are told we cannot congregate in crowds. This would be a place of worship. This again is based off of something that has yet to be shown as an actual proven thing. This is unacceptable. Freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including freedom of the press and other media of communications. The many voices of real people, myself included, who are speaking out against this pandemic are deliberately being silenced, censored, and in some cases outright deleted or banned. Freedom of press has long since been corrupted, and social media platforms are actively removing any content that goes against the mainstream narrative. This is unacceptable. Freedom of peaceful assembly. This fundamental freedom of the basic human need to be social, to gather in tribes and come together, is being strongly discouraged by the authorities, and in many cases, social snitching is being encouraged by the authorities and media. The Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act has given said authorities the ability to fine and convict individuals for breaking their prescribed rules, all solely based off of an assumed pandemic that has yet to be proven as a real thing. This is unacceptable. To add, mobility rights. Every citizen of Canada has the right to enter, remain in, and leave Canada. Every citizen of Canada and every person who has the status of a permanent resident of Canada has the right to pursue the gaining of livelihood in any province. This pandemic is creating economic hardship for everyone, myself included, most notably small businesses and self-employed people, all based off of a thing that has yet to be proven to exist. This is unacceptable. Legal rights. Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security. People with legitimate health issues are being told to go home when they go to the hospital for help, in some cases dying at home. This is unacceptable. 8, 9, 10, and 11, from the category of the legal rights in the Charter, have yet to be fully explored, but when tried, they will be baseless again, based off of a thing that has yet to be proven to exist. This is and or will be unacceptable. Treatment or punishment. Everyone has the right not to be subjected to any cruel, unusual treatment or punishment. I think that we can all agree what is happening now is without a doubt cruel and unusual treatment and or punishment under the guise of help stop the spread, all based off of a thing that has yet to be proven to exist. This is unacceptable. I would also submit that any imposed law that is created to overthrow the Canada Act 1982 should be considered null, void, and illegal, as the reason for the enactment of any said law to overthrow or set aside the Canada Act 1982 is based off of something that has yet to be scientifically proven, that being the existence of the said COVID-19 virus in the way that it has been described as a pandemic. To recap, I submit the following. There is no electron micrograph, i.e. photograph, of the pure and fully characterized COVID-19 virus. There is no primary, specialist, peer-reviewed paper in which this COVID-19 virus is illustrated and its full genetic information described. There is no primary publication that provides proof that this particular virus is the sole cause of the particular disease, that being COVID-19. Without those three proofs, and all of the others outlaid, just scratching the surface of what is being described a pandemic, we would demand that this current non-existent pandemic situation be stopped immediately, that all the rules and laws put in place for this non-existent pandemic to be lifted, and that all citizens of Canada be compensated for their pain, suffering, and financial losses that have come about from this contrived pandemic. Thank you. I'm a very concerned Canadian citizen, and let not authority be the truth, but truth be the authority. And one last thing. This gentleman here has an outstanding reward for anybody that can prove measles exists in the way it's being described. He has many papers on this topic. Please find and read. Find and read aceofcoins.com coronavirus gold bounty. A group of individuals has put up a reward to anyone that can provide evidence of coronavirus. Please read and find and read this one. This paragraph here is important. Find and read in same article. I hope to see you all here at this location. Thank you.